For marketers listening who might dream of going solo one day, what advice would you share from the point that you're at right now?
I think having a founding team as opposed to trying to do this by yourself helps a lot, not only in navigating the ambiguity and the uncertainty, and also just takes a lot of the pressure off of you, trying to do all of it yourself. Advice number 2, differentiate it from your competitors. So what are you doing that people can't get anywhere else? And that is probably a question you should answer before you venture out into the world of the unknown, just to give yourself as good a crack at success as you possibly can.
Hello friends, and welcome back to South Africa Tech Marketers, the show where we learn from local marketers making waves in South Africa and abroad. I'm Kirsty Lang, a senior content writer at Buffer, and today I'm joined by someone who just made a major career move. After 4 years at Google, leading marketing for search and consumer AI in South Africa, Imke Dannhauser recently stepped away to launch her own business, and that is what we're going to talk about today. Imke's had a fascinating career. She has worked across industries, geographies, marketing niches. So loads to get into. Imke, thank you so much for making time to chat.
A great pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we finally made the time. Imke and I connected, I think, when was it? Several months back when you were just kind of making the move. And I'm excited to hear how everything is going.
Well, no bold spots yet. So I suppose to the good there. So far, so good.
Yes, I know. I mean, running a business is a whole thing. I work in-house full time, but then I also kind of run my own freelance stuff on the side. And I know that is not the same thing at all, but that is quite stressful. Anyway, so I'm excited to get your advice on all these things. Let's start with a leap. You left a dream job at Google earlier this year. What drove the decision? And what does life look like on the other side?
Firstly, I have to point out, Kirsty, you might have seen this before, but I have no dream job, I do not dream of labor. This is a true thing. So dream job, strong statement.
Okay, I love it. Yes, agreed wholeheartedly.
Really, I think we can summarize this by saying middle age happened, right? I had a big milestone birthday a while ago, and like every cliche you've heard of, kind of did some navel gazing and contemplating around what I want out of my future and what the rest of my career needs to look like, and really decided based on that to make some changes and explore new horizons and adventures. So that's for the why. In terms of what this looks like at the moment, look, I'm building. I am also studying at the moment. I'm wrapping up degrees number 7 and 8, actually. So
what?
We're in exam season right now. Life looks like a textbook. That's what life looks like.
Oh my gosh.
With a very firm attachment to athleisure wear. Like that's kind of life at the moment.
No. Completely valid.
But I am loving the flexibility, and I am really enjoying the opportunity to pursue stuff that I find really interesting and intriguing, and to build around that. So that conceptual problem solving is something that I'm having a lot of fun with.
That sounds amazing. I would love to know what you are studying.
2 things. So wrapping up my BA psychology degree through UNISA, the University of South Africa, and doing my MBA through the Ballet Institute in the US as well.
Wow, 2 at the same time. MBAs are intense as well. Everyone that I have known that does an MBA kind of like disappears from life for several months and then resurfaces again smarter. And yeah, I mean, it's an intensive course, isn't it?
Jury is probably out about the, how much intelligence we can unlock, full stop. There might be more effort possible there. But I started over the Christmas holidays last year and did a large amount of the coursework then to give me a bit of flexibility throughout the year. So it's made things slightly more manageable. That is part of why, a step away from full-time employment, it's given me a bit more flexibility and time to get my head down on different things.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I'm also really interested in the choice to study psychology. Is that with the view to applying it to the marketing you do? I know loads of folks have kind of come on the show and talked about how they're fascinated by psychology and that's what led them to marketing. So I'm curious to hear about that tie-in.
100%. So my academic background cross-cuts a couple of different disciplines, which is what I love about marketing. It touches a lot of disciplines. And so psychology, because it, really plays into consumer behavior, but also, the art part. So future degrees are visual arts and creative writing to get the art part kind of managed. And then there's, of course, a lot of business science in this as well, which I've covered too.
That is phenomenal. I am such a nerd. I was like, I loved school. I loved university. I love studying and making notes. I am a Hermione, for want of a better term. So it's making me a little bit jealous. I'm like, I want to be looking at textbooks all the time. That probably makes me really lame.
I'm happy to answer
jealous.
That particular part to you. Right?
All right. Yeah, I'll write the exams. It'll be fine.
Sure. Let's go there. Yes.
Yeah. Seems sensible. Yeah, I need to look into some things to study, because all of my kind of marketing, expertise is from experience. Because I studied journalism, and obviously a lot of that is transferable. Yeah, I don't know. I need to just note to self when I listen to this podcast later, Kirsty, please go and review some courses because it's time.
No replacement for experience, I think. So,
sure.
The battle is more than half but one.
Okay, I'm going to stop waxing lyrical about textbooks. Speaking of experience, you have worked at some of the most prestigious companies in South Africa, globally. SAB, McKinsey, Google. Was starting your own thing kind of always in the back of your mind, or was it really that shift that you had on that milestone birthday when you were like, okay, no, something needs to change?
This was never on the bingo card, right? If you told me a year ago, I would have laughed at you. But the stars aligned in a funny way. I was literally having a catch up with a ex-agency partner of mine, and we were chatting, as you do in a very pretentious way, about value propositions. And we went, yes, somebody should do that. And the conversation took a hard right into we should do that. And, by the end of the discussion, we had a half-written business plan. So, no, it was really serendipity that kind of made us go, actually, this is a great idea and we should explore it. And we haven't looked back yet.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. I'd love to learn more about the business and how you have been building things so far.
Absolutely. So I should start with core tenets here, which is that a value proposition is the foundation of any good brand building effort. And our big insight was that is something that, startups more broadly has not necessarily cut yet or cracked yet. And in fact, a third of startup failures is due to them having, a not very well thought through value proposition. And so that's what we're building at the moment is a...
I've worked at one of those startups, so you've just resurfaced some trauma there. Yeah. Okay, sorry.
I'm sorry for the trauma flashback there. I come with trigger warnings, I should have said. No, so WS&O, which is our business with Sails and Oars, is focused on helping startups crack their value propositions. And one of the things that we're really finding, we're in our pilot stages now, is that process is really helping startups to ask some very difficult questions around their product market fit and whether they have really thought this through very effectively. And so businesses who are going, I'm not actually sure why people should choose me rather than my competitors, or, all farmers in Africa are my target audience, and symptoms of that ilk, not really being able to articulate what makes them special and will continue to make them special when there's more competition. That's the stuff that we're helping businesses really crack. I can see that you are, possibly going to start crying to yourself to sleep anytime now. I'm a little concerned.
No, oh my gosh, of course not. I'm just thinking about where we can take this. I have so many questions kind of bubbling up in my mind, because what you are unlocking for folks, I know any marketers listening to this will be like, I have worked at a company that didn't know that, and it made the marketing a nightmare, right? Because who are we selling to? Well, everyone. Who are we talking to? Well, pretty much everyone, right? And that makes coming up with copy, coming up with creatives, if you don't know who you're talking to and what you're telling them, it is marketing hell. And I've been there.
Well,
that sounds phenomenal.
Over-reliance on performance marketing, right, which is of itself a short-term measure. And so what you typically then see is that you are able to get lots of sales and leads and, maybe even some trial. But the second that the incentive expires or you stop actively, advertising or pushing search words, the second you stop, your funnel dies down as well. And so that value proposition and the brand building that it unlocks really helps you with claiming a lot more mental real estate with your audience.
I would love to, I'm sure folks listening to this are super, super curious about your time at Google. It's famously hard to break into. I'd love to know kind of about the experience, if you can take us back to like how you landed that role and then what it was like to work at Google. I feel like it's almost mythical at this point. There are movies kind of about this. What was it like for you?
Gosh, we're rewinding a good 5 years here. So, the detailed steps in the application process we're going to gloss over quite broadly.
That's absolutely fine.
But no, I was lucky enough to be referred by an ex-breweries colleague who was working at Google at the time. And once you get through the screening process, you get assigned a recruiter that is there to really hold your hand throughout the entire process. And that person was incredibly helpful in, helping me with what the types of questions would be, literally, this is how you pronounce this interviewer's name, but also just a lot of detail around, how to prep, what the type of questions are that you can expect. And similar. And so it was 3 rounds of interviews, 2 with the core team that I was joining, and then a third, independent to the team interviewer as an independent assessor. And then the offer was extended. So, yeah.
That's amazing. I once had a screening call with Google. I think I was also referred by someone who was at Google at the time and then never heard back, which was very sad. But I love the approach is so interesting. I didn't actually realize that the recruiter was kind of your partner in the process. Kind of it's usually the other way around.
No, super. And weird that they didn't give you feedback.
Maybe they did. I mean, it was also a long time ago.
No, it was a great, what shall we call this? Keeping me off the ledge resource. So, in terms of just answering any insecurities or questions that I might have and making sure that, I'm as prepared.
And amazing to have that. Oh, sorry, Imke, I interrupted you. I did great podcast hosting, Kirsty. We're doing some hiring at Buffer at the moment, and we also get loads and loads of applications. And the whole Buffer thing is that we're really hands-on with that process. And, of course, we want to be kind and like reassure people and let them know that they're going to hear from us or give them feedback. But, when you're dealing with thousands of applicants, that's also a heck of a lot of the work for the hiree, the hiring manager, rather. So that's a really cool system. I'm just sorry, you've got me going down rabbit holes in my brain about whether we need something similar.
Me and my trigger warnings, here we go.
Okay, so once you're in a Google, what does it look like? What was your time at Google like?
So I did 2 roles at Google. Most of my time was spent as part of our brand reputation team for Africa. And there my focus was on telling the stories of what Google does in the communities in which it operates. And one of probably my highlights of my time at Google was the Google Hustle Academy, which is a free small business enabling program that we set up, really targeted to helping small businesses scale across Africa. And I'm very, very proud that the impact study that we did just before I left showed that we were able to create 4 new jobs for every 10 businesses that graduated.
What?
Academy. Which meant that by the time I left, we had created or helped small businesses create, I should be more accurate, about 6,000 new jobs. So 6,000 families whose lives were impacted for the better.
That is wild, Imke. Wow, that's phenomenal. And it kind of makes sense that this project lit you up so much, and then you have gone on to help kind of your idea is to help more small businesses and startups kind of be more successful in the long run. So that's kind of an interesting dot to connect now.
Mm-hmm. Look, yeah, I think this new adventure feels a lot like a intersection of skills that I built in breweries in terms of the hardcore classical brand marketing principles, a lot of the broader business strategy work that I did at McKinsey, and then some of the work that I did at Google from a startup point of view as well. I was lucky enough to be part of the Google for Startups ecosystem for most of my time there. So it feels like it's
amazing,
pulling together a lot of the various skill sets and exposures that I've had.
Yeah, it just makes sense. Okay, I know you are relatively early at this stage in your journey, but I'd love to know, for marketers listening who might dream of going solo one day, what advice would you share from the point that you're at right now?
Point number one is don't do this solo, actually, because I think having a founding team as opposed to trying to do this by yourself helps a lot, not only in navigating the ambiguity and the uncertainty, and also just celebrating the wins, but also just takes a lot of the pressure off of you, trying to do all of it yourself. So that would be number one. Advice number two, and you won't be surprised given the focus of our business, is around getting clear around your value proposition, what it is that you are trying to do, and do in a way that is differentiated from your competitors. So what are you doing that people can't get anywhere else? And that is probably a question you should answer before you venture out into the world of the unknown, just to give yourself as good a crack at success as you possibly can.
Yeah, that is fantastic advice. So, Imke, how has your definition of success changed in this new season, now that you are building something of your own?
It's a deeply philosophical question for a Monday with no red wine, I should say. Look, at the moment, I would be wildly glad if WS&O is able to scale and, become a sustainable business. I would be over the moon and shut out all my definitions of success if we could appoint somebody to do the IT. I am a terrible email administrator. So, that's success for somebody else to do the IT. But no, more broadly, and maybe you've seen this very trite LinkedIn diagram, the pie chart with, success being a job title and income versus, a broader definition of success, which has a lot more slices to the pie. I think we can totally debate what the slices are in the pie and how many slices there are and what we label them as. But that idea of having the, money and time and energy to pursue whatever your definition is of a healthy, meaningful life is something that resonates with me quite a lot. And so if you ask me what I think success is, it is that, being able to have the freedom to pursue a job that I enjoy, but also my hobbies and interests outside of that.
Yeah, I love that. That ties in so well with the kind of the goal of the show and who sponsors the show. I know longtime listeners will know it's sponsored by the Global Talent Company, and their goal is to help connect South African marketers to remote jobs. And while I know it is not the same level of freedom that you would have, if you were running your own thing and running your own business, but remote work, I feel, has given me that and given a bit of my time back. And I'm so grateful for that every single day. That just brought that up for me, hearing you talk about success and how it really can mean, a successful day, the freedom to just, take a step back and take a real lunch break, right? To your point about dream jobs and work not necessarily being the dream.
Always that, being able to work from the beach one week and, a mountaintop the next. These can more universal 5G just roll out already. That would make life much easier too. But yeah, no, I agree. I think remote work, fractional work, those are really interesting opportunities to start building a very different career trajectory that can be very meaningful.
Yes, I love that. Okay, less philosophical, slightly more tactical. what, of all the things that you have on your plate right now, what is lighting you up the most? What are you building, learning, experimenting with that is kind of sparking joy for you?
I'm actually having a grand old time at the moment, to tell you the truth, around a whole bunch of different things. But I am a bit of a process queen. And so the idea of kind of like thinking through this process that we're taking startups on, from step 1 through to step number X, and how this fits into each other. And that is something that I'm enjoying a lot. My founders are probably co-founders are probably delighted that I enjoy it and they don't have to do it. But I'm elbows deep in that at the moment, having a lot of fun with that. I took up adult ballet randomly last year, and so I've just graduated grade 1. To be very clear, my peers are 3-year-olds. They've also graduated grade 1. So I'm loving the dancing, random as that is. And what else am I really enjoying at the moment? I also took up jewelry making, and I'm enjoying that too. So some related stuff that I'm having fun with.
Yes. Start your own business, take up jewelry making and ballet. I love that energy. Yes. Also, I'm looking forward to seeing some LinkedIn posts on these things that spark joy for you. I feel like 100%. That would perform exceptionally well.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Okay, Imke, thank you so much for making the time today. I'm going to let you get back to your studying and business building and jewelry making.
I'm not going to complain. But keep me out a little bit more.
Okay, no, studying. I'm hearing studying is the thing that's next on your task list. Before we go,
yes,
I would love to know. Oh no, well, good luck. I would love to know where folks can find you if they want to learn more about the business, if they want to learn more about you and your work. Where is the best place for it?
Absolutely. LinkedIn is the best way to get hold of me. There is a happy schedule, a coffee chat. So if you'd like to spend some time chatting, by all means, hit the button. And then WS&O is at www.withsailsandoars.com. So head on over and have a look there as well, me and the rest of the team.
Amazing. Thank you so much. We will include all the links in the show notes as we always do. Imke, thank you again for your time. Thank you so much to Global Talent Co. once again for being the sponsor behind the show. If you are looking for an incredible remote job or you are looking to hire some South African talent, they can help you on both ends of the spectrum. Head over to globaltalent.co and you will find everything on the site. Thanks for listening.